It is bigger. I feel the ground move under my feet. People look around like, what could it be? They point to the towers, they point to the rise, but this shaking in the dirt is a warning in disguise. Not just the walls, not just the stone, it's the way the wicked hangs on a world not their own. He sees the land, he sees the line, he sees the crossing every single time.
Welcome to the Thought Brothers. Oh, you see some different faces on here today. Thought Brothers, the original. We have our guest co-host Thought Brothers, Stan Harrison, Colonel Eric Garvin, and we've got Donna Gray-Banks. Donna, I'm going to let you introduce your crew because this is going to be kind of like the battle of the sexes in terms of how we see things. So,
I love that for us.
Yeah, go ahead, Donna. You bring in.
I love that for us.
I see you bringing the A-team. You got the A-team. Go ahead and introduce the A-team.
Listen, I'm missing one, but she had a bad day, so we're not going to belabor that. But my name is Donna Gray-Banks, and I've been here before. I am the founder and director of the Fresh Book Festival, and I'm the CEO of the Midtown Community Development Corporation, and also co-partner of Easy's Transportation. So my life is growing as we speak. And so the two ladies I have with me today is Dr. Evelyn Bethune of the Bethune-Cookman lineage. And I've known Evelyn for
a long time.
Long time.
A long time.
We were together many years ago. We started an internet radio show called Sweet Tea with a Chaser, and that had to be 2013.
Yes.
Yeah.
By 13, yes.
She's a publisher and an author, and has the best Rolodex you could ever want. And a really good partner and friend. Thank you for being here on such a short notice, Dr.
Absolutely.
Evelyn.
Anything for you. We'll fly around the world.
Thank you. And Tracy is a new friend of mine. Thank you, Tracy. She has a very strong worldwide podcast called Girl, what is it called? Girl, what?
Girl, I'm making it through.
I'm making it through. Right. Yeah. And I wanted to make sure, I was going to say something different. I didn't want to do that. She is retired military or just military, Tracy?
Just a veteran. Yeah, I didn't retire.
She's brand new married. She's a girl husband, yay. And she lives here in Palm Coast. I don't know enough more about her. There's something else you would like to say, Tracy, about?
No, that says it all. I mean, the podcast that you mentioned is it's growing, over 6,000 subscribers on YouTube. So we're getting there. I'm about to get geared up for season 3. So Thought Brothers, I might be reaching out to y'all to have a conversation.
We ain't scared. We ain't scared.
Not in the least.
Right. No. And so that's my A-team. These women come from many different backgrounds, and I think you got something on your hands tonight. I'm just saying.
Okay.
You're not scared, that's for sure.
I think I heard the word challenge in the wind, but we'll see what happens here.
Absolutely.
Well, I tell you what, we just gonna jump right into it.
Okay.
And what I want to do, I'm gonna start off with things that we used to be embarrassed about. I'm talking about us. Things that were once just embarrassing, inappropriate, or off limits, and now people do these things and say these things or whatever openly. And so I'm going to start off with our senior correspondent, the researcher, Mr. Spivey. Just give us one thing and tell us why. One thing that we used to be embarrassed about as a culture.
Now, thinking about this, the one thing I would say is mental health. People used to not want to talk about mental health. People back in the day, or back in my day, if you said you were going to a psychiatrist or a psychologist, they'd be like, "You crazy? You're dealing with a shrink." Today, it's changed. People talk about mental health, and a lot of times people say, "You don't have a therapist." So, people will say, "Don't you have a therapist?" So I think mental health is one of them, but there's several other, things like money problems, things of that nature. People used to not talk about that, but with the way this country is right now, and the price of gas and food and everything else, and everybody's having money problems, people talk about money struggles more than they did in the past.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Donna, we're going to go to you.
It's menopause. So nothing else I have to say. 30 years ago, we wouldn't talk about it. 20 years ago, we wouldn't talk about it. Yes. Now, every other podcast, since yours, Gary Johnson, I must say, women are really coming out to really talk about menopause and how it affects us and how we should, as women, make sure that our mates know, whether it's your husband, your partner, your son, the things that you're going through. And so I'm really encouraged about the information that's being given and the information that's being received on menopause. It's 10 years coming and 10 years going. That's 20 years out of a woman's life that she changes.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we still getting feedback on that first menopause show and the second one too. So it's a big deal. I'm going to roll over to Carlos. Come on, Carlos.
Come on. As a financial analyst, I got to say to everyone, welcome. But man, like Mr. Spivey just brought up a great topic. Yeah, growing up, I remember when people were talking amongst our parents and elders when we were a kid, and somebody brought up something about finances or paying a bill on time. And I just remember people on several occasions saying, shut your mouth. That's none of your business. And now every conversation you have is literally about, thinking about buying a house. What do you think's a good rate? Oh, man, I'm going to buy a house. What do you think about this? I'm going to buy a car. What do you recommend? I'm in some credit card debt. What do you suggest? I mean, it's almost like every conversation at some point will get to something about finances, whether it's your investments, your retirement, whether it's just groceries, whether it's just household needs. Those are regular conversations today, but they were literally the conversations that people would tell you to shut your mouth and mind your own business on previously. So I think that says a lot about where the country is today and where the priorities are. So that's my one right there.
All right. Okay. Dr. Bethune, what say you?
I say bad kids.
Tell us more. Tell us more.
Listen. And kids today run the house. Back in the day, that was not the case at all. And if your kids showed out somewhere, you were embarrassed and you took them down like a deer in headlights. Today, the parents are worse than the kids. They take up for the kids. I don't care what they're doing. They're my kids, they can cuss the teacher out. That's okay. Long as the teacher doesn't say anything back. I think that that is an area that you can't even talk to people about their kids anymore, or their behaviors. And so they're out there wilding in the street and the parents are home drinking a glass of wine. They don't call me unless, I got to come get you out of jail. Or worse. And I just think that is a real area of concern right now. And because the kids are doing everything, whatever they feel their mind is big enough to do, they're doing it at early ages in the street.
Whew. Let me tell you something. If I had a blood pressure cuff on my arm right now, it's tightening up right now just listening to you. Oh my goodness. Good gracious. Okay, Eric Garvin, what's one for you, man?
So I'm going to say dress and attire. And specifically, back in the Negro baseball leagues, if you looked at some of the old photographs, you'd see the fans in the stands dressed to the nines, right? Yes. Impeccably dressed. Now I'm going to fast forward to today. My wife and I just returned from a destination wedding for our beloved nephew in Jamaica. We had a phenomenal time, but I'm telling you, when I looked at all the bonnets I saw in the dining facilities, all the bedroom slippers in the dining room facilities throughout the resort, and also pajamas all over the place, right? And I asked myself, well, where has our pride gone? Because I think that that is a signal of a sign of a lack of pride in yourself when you go out like that. Those things were designed to be used in the interiors of your house and not out in the public. And it just seems that we just, some of us have grown very, very comfortable with going out. And used to be a time where we used to talk about first impressions really do make a big difference. And I really think that if I'm seeing a person in inappropriate attire, that does not create a very favorable impression upon me. Now, I know each of us have our own rights to decide what we want to do, but I also think it's important for you to understand that there's some consequences associated with your decisions. And those decisions are can be not so favorable for you.
Okay. All right. Miss Tracy, newcomer, come on.
Hey, newcomer. So I'm going to say piggyback on mental health. As a former soldier who suffered from PTSD, I love that now it's being talked about more, that it's commonplace to have the conversation and that people feel free to say where they are, as far as having a therapist. It's almost commonplace for everyone to have a therapist now. That it's like a really good thing to see that now as a soldier. Before everything was hush hush, you couldn't talk about it, and now we're speaking about it freely, so that is a good thing. Mental health and therapy. And I'm going to second also the money conversation. With money, we're talking about credit, as Carlos said. We're talking about, like you said, buying a house. So before it was, what happens in this house stays in this house, whether daddy was working or not, or, our lights got cut off, whatever the case may have been, what happened in the house stayed in the house. And menopause. Whew. So yes, menopause. And that was one of the reasons I started my podcast, just to talk about these things. So I'm really excited that we're having this conversation. Mental health, menopause, women over 50, like, oh my gosh. Yeah. So I co-sign everything you guys talked about.
All right. Okay. CJ, come on in. He's our youngest member.
Hey, CJ.
Hey, so I've got two of them to start out. Like, one is on the more positive. The first issue would be like LGBT issues used to be very, like in the background, literally like in the closet, even going back to like the Obama administration and things like that, where gay marriage wasn't even legal across everywhere in the country. And you fast forward to now, and it's very open, accepting of gay rights and things like that in America. I think overall that's a good thing to have less people in that community bullied and things like that. But I think on the flip side, there needs to be some more bullying for another group of people, because I think there is a epidemic of willful ignorance, that people used to be embarrassed about being stupid. And now I think that there's just no, there's no shame in the ignorance. You have someone like Stephen A. Smith who will go on his huge platform and bloviate for hours on end about subjects he's not even looked into, and with no shame and things like that, where we used to be embarrassed to be dumb. And I think more people like that need to be stuffed in lockers to prevent these egos from getting out of control, and for the state of discourse to be where it's at right now.
Okay. All right. Stan, come on.
I thought that when this topic came up, this panel would eat everything that I came up with, but you didn't. So this is surprising. So there's one that jumps out, and it's pervasive right now in our society. I'm just going to use the term or the acronyms OF, and we all know what that means. That used to be something that we frowned upon because, back where I'm from, there was a strip or a street that we would call that when you go down that street or when you solicit on that particular street, you were subject to being picked up and spend the night in prison or in jail. But now it's open, everyone talks about it, it's advertised, and it's just one of those things. from my understanding, and Eric, you're going to appreciate this, I learned that 4.6 million creators currently we have in that particular marketplace.
Wow.
4.6 million creators. And the second thing is, I appreciate CJ bringing this up, willful ignorance. And I call it something a little bit different. I call it staying in your lane. Now, more than ever, we have people running out of their lanes, getting into places and having conversations with people that they have no business having conversations about. In our society, we call it this thing, you don't know the Kool-Aid, so why are you up in our business? So we have this thing called Karens and Kens, and they get into situations. And back in the day, if it wasn't your business, you stayed out of it. But nowadays, people got to put their nose in. And now, someone mentioned it earlier, respecting mom and dad, there is a double-edged sword to that, because now when people are disrespecting the kids are now fighting back. And we know that because we got a folding chair to remind us of the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Woo.
Yeah,
Okay.
just to add to that real quick, the
Go ahead.
OnlyFans epidemic is also a horrible economic indicator that so many
Absolutely.
people feel like that a normal 9-to-5 job can't pay their bills, but that revenue source can.
CJ, spot on, man, because we know that that is a negative indicator because we know it's not sustainable. And we also know that it's created what we call a dot-com boom, and it's called the OF boom, and it's going to rear its ugly head before too long.
Hey, Gary and team.
They're seasoned OF.
Hey guys, hey Gary,
so crazy.
I thought about one more thing. You
Go
know
ahead.
what's really was taboo?
What's
If you
that?
think about it,
What's that?
really what was taboo back in the day was gambling in sports.
Yeah.
Right? They wouldn't even put
People
a
were
team in
doing it.
Las
They weren't
Vegas.
talking about it.
They would not do gambling. Pete Rose got banned from baseball. They weren't going to put a team in Las Vegas. Las Vegas getting ready to get every sports team in every league now, and gambling, FanDuel is your best friend.
Yep,
Like that
yeah.
was taboo. I mean, wow, how things have changed.
Yeah, the leagues are, it's like they say gambling is bad, but in the very first commercial, FanDuel, all that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you
I'm
also
going
you also have
go
to
ahead, Doc.
you
Go ahead,
also
Doc.
gotta look at our political arena. I mean, there was a time when there is no possible way. I would say that most of the folks that are serving, especially in Congress, would have even been considered for election. Now, if they have big bank and a conviction record, they can be president of the United States.
That's true.
Right.
Before we move on, I'm going to select sleep problems. I talked about my sleep apnea situation, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it's got over 60,000 views, and I even put a picture of myself wearing a CPAP. And I got emails from brothers who saying, because I told them, I said, look, man, I'd gladly wear this CPAP. I only wear it at night, but I don't want to wake up dead.
Absolutely.
So a couple of brothers said, you know what? I done signed up for a sleep study. My wife been telling me for years I snore. I mean, once I got that study and they told me that I stopped breathing 70 times in an hour, 70, oh no, that changed me. So I ain't embarrassed to talk about that anymore. So
well,
yeah.
and piggybacking off of that, Gary, now we're talking about all health issues.
Mm-hmm.
And there used to be a time when Black men didn't go to the doctor. They were afraid to go to the doctor. And now, with the help of people like you putting issues out there, it makes it where you're not alone. So they're comfortable. Okay, well, my brother went to the doctor. Let me go and get myself checked out as well. So the more we talk about it, the more lives we save in that area. So.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, I'm going to share my screen for a minute here, see if everybody can see this. You can only keep 5, okay? You can only keep 5. Pick 5. The others are gone for the rest of your life. So, CJ, what's your top 5, brother?
My top 5. I
What
can
do you
tell you.
which ones are you keeping?
I'm keeping. Let's see. I'll keep the smartphone. I'm gonna keep the car. I'm gonna keep the GPS for the car. I'm gonna keep the air conditioning, and I'm gonna keep the internet.
All right. All right. Give me just very briefly, just give me a little bit of logic that's driving your behavior.
Social media was a mistake. We don't need that anymore, as we can see from the social media landscape that we have now. Let's see, cars more valuable than microwave because I can just cook on the oven or the stove, and like I said, it's not that serious. I can live without the microwave. GPS, I don't watch a lot of TV, so it's just like, I mean, I don't know if it's like legacy TV we're talking about or like all entertainment watching, because a lot of stuff is streaming now. Like my TV is dusty. Like I watch most of the stuff on my laptop and on the go and stuff like that. So not really super big, and I don't watch a lot of TV. So that's just more of a personal thing. I could understand if people want to save the TV, but if I'm driving around, I like to know where I'm going. So GPS, although that's not like a deal breaker either. We used to have MapQuest back in the day. I'm older than I look, so I didn't have GPS my whole life. So I don't do Amazon delivery a lot either. I can wait 2 weeks for my package, so I'm not super. I don't need a drone to deliver it same day with some underpaid worker who hasn't been able to go to the bathroom all day. So not. I don't need Amazon, but I do need some AC depending on where you live. Like I said, I lived in Florida for a while. Definitely need the AC. And as a musician, I hate streaming music. Streaming music has robbed the money from a lot of working musicians. So the whole streaming model was also a mistake. And a lot of musicians are going back to physical media again because streaming basically diverts all the money in the music industry to Spotify executives who don't make music, who don't like music, who don't care about music, who are just there to squeeze the profits out of artists who work hard like myself. So not a fan of streaming music.
All right. Donna, what 5 are you keeping?
Well, now I want to take one away. Now, is Sirius Radio streaming music?
Yes.
Is that the same thing?
Yes.
Not really. I mean, that's satellite radio. That's not
satellite, but it's streamed.
That's different. Okay.
It's streamed on your phone and your computer, right?
It's not the same model as like Apple Music, though.
Okay.
It's not like it's not the same model as like a Spotify or Apple Music because, like I said, it's still internet. I mean, not internet radio, but internet radio, like the Sirius and stuff like that operates similar to legacy radio. Not quite, but it's not like the streaming model of like a Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, something like that.
Okay, well, I only pick streaming music because I can't do without Sirius Radio. I mean, I can, but I really like it. But now, when he said that, people are losing money over it, then I wouldn't want that on the list. But streaming music, because I don't watch TV, I'm force-fed to watch TV. So that the TV is not a problem. Internet access, I think is important just because of the world that we live in right now. Air conditioning because it's 96 degrees today in the shade in the state of Florida. My phone, just because that's the way of the world. And a car. I don't need a GPS if I have my phone, right? I mean, just because a smartphone has GPS, so you don't really need that other than your phone. And so that's 1, 2, 3, that's my 5: car, phone, air conditioning, internet access, and streaming music. Microwave, I don't use the one I have now. The only reason why I have a microwave now is because I have a partner. And when he came in and we started living together, he was like, "You don't have a microwave? What is going on?" So, but I very rarely use it. I don't remember the other things on the page. What was it?
Well, it was smartphone, car, television, air conditioning, streaming music, social media, microwave, GPS, Amazon style delivery, and internet.
Okay, so the Amazon style delivery I love, but I do believe I could do without and make sure that I use my money efficiently in the county that I live in. And I think that takes away from a lot, because it makes you, I don't want to say lazy, it makes me more efficient that I don't have to go in Walmart and talk to 20,000 people before I buy a banana. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the way it is when you live in a small town. You understand, don't you, Tracy? You go to
Absolutely.
Walmart, you don't even get to the bananas before I hear, hey, Miss Donna. I go, oh.
Hey, that's that menopause lady.
Yeah, it's a menopause lady. I've had that at Walmart too. So I think that it's something I love. I like to do, but I could do without it.
Okay. All right. Hey, Stan, what's your 5, man?
C.J. nailed it. Those 5, the phone, the car, the internet, GPS, and the AC. But honestly, Don made a great point. With the phone, you don't necessarily need the GPS anymore. And my reasons are the same. With access to the internet, you are open to a world of endless possibilities. Having a car, you don't need delivery. Having AC, of course, we live in the great state of Florida. The heat index today was over 118 degrees, so that's a must. So the other things I could do without. I can do without television. I can do without delivery. I can do without social media and streaming. So
okay,
those are my 5.
All right, we're gonna keep it moving. Dr. Bethune, what's 5?
They have covered it for me as well. I don't watch TV. I don't have time. By the time I finish doing my day, I'm ready to go to bed, and I don't have a television in my bedroom. So that's when they say start telling me what's on television. I'm like, really? How long has that been on? I don't know.
Beauty and Black. We missed a whole episode.
Right.
We didn't even know it was on TV, right?
Okay, thank you. I'm that person that on my cell phone I can watch NCIS 24/7. That's my go-to.
Okay. All right, we finding out a lot about different people here.
Yes,
so okay.
And air conditioning, if you never had it, you don't miss it. But if you've ever had it, you need it. So, that is definitely a keeper. A car, because mass transit is not the answer in Atlanta, Georgia. If you plan to get anywhere on time, won't happen. And definitely, like I said, my smartphone and streaming music in some form, because I cannot be without my music and stay, personable.
Okay. All right. Eric, you still got your 8-track in your deuce and a quarter?
No. In fact, my 5 choices are, I try to say, hey, they're not choices of convenience, but really what's mandatory for my survival in the state of Florida. And I think CJ and Stan and some of the other guests there nail some of these things. But I begin with the internet, right? The internet is the backbone. We have no Thought Brothers show without the internet. So it would be lights out for this show. So that is a key enabler in so many other things. Smartphone, that is something that I have grown, become addicted to, right? Like many, many other Americans, right? And it's hard to imagine being able to live my life without that smartphone these days. Air conditioning, particularly in the state of Florida, is absolutely mandatory. Although I grew up in non-air conditioned homes, but they were in places like New York City, so a little bit more tolerant of that. Car is absolutely imperative here in Atlanta. New York City, not so much. In fact, New York City, because they have a great mass transit system, but here in Florida, you got to have that. And then the final one is GPS. Those are the key ones that I would keep.
Okay. All right. Tracy, I see your number being called here now.
All right, I got my list ready.
Let's go.
Absolutely have to have a car. In our small town, we have no mass transit. Although if I was near it, I would use it. I'm going to say air conditioning. Absolutely. I think everyone at this stage has to have air conditioner, especially when you're having those menopausal moments.
A wave of water. That's what I call it.
I'm going to say a smartphone. And with this smartphone, it has internet access already, where I can stream music, I can watch TV, I can do whatever on this phone, GPS. I am going to say TV because I do use the TV as background noise to go to sleep, which is a no-no, but it helps me. And a car. Microwave was my other one, because microwaves nowadays also serve as convection ovens. So you can air fry, you can microwave, you can bake. So that's my 5.
All right. So, Carlos.
Come on, man. I'm going to tell you, you got to be comfortable at home. Even though we live in a DMV, between Memorial Day and Labor Day, man, it's hot. I need AC. So you got to give me that AC. Hey, look, and while you're home, you can't even suggest or have a conversation with anybody in 2026 and tell them you don't have internet access at home. That makes no sense, because you're on your laptop, you still use internet access sometimes on your phone. You got to have internet access. So that's my second one, right? Take care of home first. Then, man, I got to have my car. I love being able to get up and go wherever I want. I might go to Mr. Spivey's house. I might go see CJ. I might even drive to Florida to see Gary. I need my car, okay? And then to bring it home, I don't need too much of anything else if I got that smartphone. It's my alarm clock, it's my radio, it's my GPS, it's a compass. I can watch TV shows, movies. And you know what? For me, though, I never thought I would say this, but actually, I like social media. I mean, not all of it's true, but I've been able to connect with people I would have never connected with if I hadn't had social media. I mean, and so, and think about this show. This show gets, a lot of connections worldwide now, right? Because of social media. So those are my 5, and I'm sticking with them. That's it.
Okay. Mr. Spivey.
Well, I've changed mine after listening to everybody.
That's not fair. That's not fair.
Because a couple of people changed my mind when they say, well, the smartphone has internet access and the smartphone has GPS. Because I was going to say I definitely needed GPS because I don't want to go back to the map book and have to start flipping pages. But I've changed mine. I'm going to go with the smartphone because, as they said, it has internet and GPS. The car, I'll definitely need that because Carlos and I have drove to Florida to see Gary. And the air conditioner I would definitely have to have. But since I was able to combine the internet and the GPS, now I'm going to go with my TV because, hey, I'm a TV junkie. I won't lie. Sundays and football is getting ready to start. So I want my TV to watch the Dallas Cowboys. I knew CJ would look up, and Carlos. I wanted to watch the Cowboys.
Get beat.
And since I'm able to combine those two, Amazon delivery. I'm a shopaholic. Amazon comes here every other day. And fortunately, I live in Fort Washington, and there is a super Amazon distribution center only 14 miles away. So I can order stuff at 10 o'clock in the morning, and it's on my doorstep at 2 p.m. So those are my 5.
Up on drones now.
Oh, yeah. They can't do it here because of the TCA, the traffic. But that won't be too far out. So, yeah, those are my 5, the car, the phone,
that's a
the
good list.
internet, and Amazon delivery.
That's a good list, Mr. Spivey.
Yeah.
Mr. Spivey named everything on that list. Now you know it.
I don't need a microwave, and I don't need social media, and I definitely don't need streaming. Because with my phone, I get YouTube music.
That part, right.
Yeah.
All right, so let me complicate this. Let's take a look at this. How many of you could feel comfortable calling your neighbor 2 in the morning if you needed help? Do you even have somebody you can call?
Absolutely. Yeah, I have 2 neighbors. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. And they
all right. So
let's
talk about this kind of in a group session here. Back in the day, we talked earlier and now, is there a difference in neighbors? Were neighbors actually closer when we were growing up? or is it just something that maybe is a figment of my imagination? What do you think?
I think we were definitely closer.
Yeah.
And more communicative in terms of knowing what was going on with each other, checking on each other. Everybody lived in the same neighborhood, didn't matter your economic status, and nobody was trying to move to the suburbs. You know, kids played in the street, as they say, till the street lights came on. It was just a different kind of energy. And even, you know, in our neighborhood, we had two homeless people, but they knew everybody, and everybody knew them, and they looked out for you just like everybody else did. So it was just a different kind of energy. Today, people drive into their garages, let the garage down, and
That's right.
see you later, bye bye. That's it. I'm very fortunate. The community I live in, on our street, Mossy Cup, we know everybody. And we do like neighborhood stuff and street stuff. And we have a call list, so we know everybody's phone number. And if somebody's going out of town, they let us know. And we just kind of watch out for each other. It's not like that everywhere, even in this area. So we just are very fortunate to be in the neighborhood we're in. But now 2 streets over, I have no idea.
Okay.
But on Mossy Cup, we know each other. You know, we celebrate birthdays, do, you know, national night out in the driveway, and throw street parties at the clubhouse and lock everybody else out. So
Okay.
so we do that.
That's good. That reminds me when I grew up in Washington, D.C., and everybody on our street knew each other. The parents looked out. Now that was good, but it was also, if you're a kid, you bad. I remember I broke a window and I ran. But one of the neighbors saw me and took me home to my daddy, and I got a whipping. You know, so I mean, everybody knew what was going on. And my father was not happy that he had to pay and fix that window. And he passed that cost on to me. So
So you weren't happy either?
no, I wasn't happy either. But there was a sense of community.
Yes.
And everybody knew everybody, and everybody looked out for everybody on our street. So yeah. How about somebody else?
I recall growing up. I'm sorry.
You know, Gary, in a lot of neighborhoods back in the day, you do something wrong, and the neighbor would beat your butt. Tell your parents when you got home, and then you got a second whip.
Taken down again.
You know, but somebody brought that up earlier. I remember my mother had taught school for 20 years, 25 years, and she was retiring. And I said to her, I said, "Why are you retiring?" And she said, "You know, there was a time when I would pick up the phone and I would call a parent and tell the parent that their kid did something. And the reply from the parent would be, 'I'm sorry he did it, but he will never do it again.'"
Yes, sir.
She said, today, when you pick up the phone and you call a parent and say the kid did something, the parent's reply is, "What did you do to my kid?"
They will cuss you out.
And she said, times have changed. And so I know I'm not going to change with it, because if you do something wrong in my class, I am going to punish you. And so to not lose my pension, I'm going to just go ahead and retire. And she retired. But in neighborhoods, people would discipline you, and your parents would discipline you a second time.
Oh my goodness.
And I think too, a lot of it depends on your environment, right? Growing up, exactly what Bill just said, like if I did something I wasn't supposed to do and my mom was not home, my neighbor had permission to get me. Right. And then if my neighbor had to get me, my mama was going to get me because the neighbor had to get me. But then when I lived in the Atlanta area, our houses were further apart, and, you know, it's just a different season in my life. You know, we may wave and go by, but pull in the garage, I had my own stuff going on. It was what it was. But then now moving and relocating here to Florida, I'm in a different space in life. You know, our homes are closer together. One thing in my community, we all relocated here. So we have something in common and a basis to start a conversation. You know, where did you come from? You know, what city or state, you know, whatever. We have those conversations, and then we're right next door to each other. One go out of town, we could look out for each other's home, or, you know, get a package that's on the door. So I think a lot of it is also the season you're in.
Hey guys, I think from my perspective, more of a Generation X perspective, you know, I was in elementary school in the 70s and in middle school and high school in the 80s and then in my 20s in the 1990s. And, you know, what I saw was technology played a major role. When you're a kid in the 70s and you really got 3 stations to watch on TV and there's no internet and video games really haven't become that prominent. I think we had Pong. Doot, 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 doot. That's about it.
Pac-Man.
You wanted to go outside and play with the kids in the neighborhood and meet people and stay outside until the lights came on, and you wanted somebody yelling, "Come in, come in." And that's the 1970s. 1980s, you know, we were still pretty much outside playing football and basketball. We're getting ready to go to high school and we want to have fun and know all our neighbors, and our parents were out there but having neighborhood barbecues and people hanging out at the swimming pool in the community. So I think it was still there. But then you get into 100 cable channels, and then you get into, at the end of the 80s, people start to have more computers, and then you get into the 90s. There was a movie called The Net with Sandra Bullock, and she became like addicted inside of her house. And this was like the maybe early to mid 90s. And I think some people have become that. Like, if they can connect online, they don't feel a need to go out into the community and connect. And we got some kids today. Like, I used to want to go out in the neighborhood to see all the young ladies of the families in the neighborhood so I could meet me a little young lady, right? Now kids are trying to meet young ladies online, and they never had a physical conversation. There was a football player at Notre Dame, thought he had a girlfriend for like 3 or 4 years, and she didn't exist online. So I think technology has definitely played a role in us disconnecting from our neighbors. Now, some of us still do connect with our neighbors. Like you said, I agree. I know what's happening on my street. I don't know about 2 streets over, like Dr. Bethune said. But think about that, right? The technology can be your friend if it's used appropriately, but it can be your worst enemy if you don't use it appropriately. And I think that's what's happened in a lot of today's country, and especially with the people who don't or can't remember, or who weren't born during that time when we stayed out until the street lights came on.
And I like to piggyback on what Carlos just said there. I think the technology has definitely played a big factor in what we're now experiencing today with so much social isolation. You have all this time on your smartphones, but you're not connecting with people. And the research shows you that you're more lonely, you have more mental health problems. Our adolescents and young adults are particularly very addictive to this stuff. And I will just tell you from my perspective, there are some other things that are driving me to be a little bit more social isolated. And it has everything to do with the divided country that we're currently living in.
Right.
I'm getting ready to go back to my 45th union at the Air Force Academy next month in Colorado Springs. And I've made a concerted effort that I'm not going to participate in many of the major events of the reunion. Why? Because most of those folks are MAGA folks, right? And many of the white guys in my class see me as the leader, the unofficial leader of the black delegation. So they're always looking to me to find out, hey, what's the black guys going to do? And I just explained to them, I said, it's really simple to me. I cannot see myself having a conversation over a beer with a MAGA person. And we've all seen the George Floyd murder scene with Derek Chauvin on his knees. Well, just imagine another portrait of a picture. Trump has his knees on many folks, right? Not just on blacks, but also on Latinos, gays, poor people, and women, right? And you have all these standby, the police officers that just standing by watching them take the life out of this man. So I cannot, in good conscience, be able to have even an acquaintance with you. Now, the first Trump administration, I didn't have that mindset. My mindset of one was of tolerance. But this time around, with all this blatant in your face racism, I'm sorry, I can't do that. So in this case, I'm making a personal choice to extract myself from engaging with classmates who I believe don't have my best interests at heart.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Anybody else? CJ,
Eric,
anybody else?
That was well said, man. And I was going to bring up the political landscape that we have, but I'm also going to go back to something that Tracy and Dr. Bethune said, and that is the family structure and the fact that we don't have as many children as we once had. So the children often were the ones that connected us well within the community because
Yeah.
the children, generations, so you would have the stair step children, children 3 years apart, and they would keep that what I call generational relationship going because your son would play with my daughter, and
It's
that's
true.
how the community stayed together. That the kids all knew each other. They went to school together. They studied together. They played sports together. So that was one of those connecting factors. Not only that, you know, Carlos, you mentioned, and Dr. Garvin, you also mentioned something about, the political awareness and what is truly going on. And Carlos, you hit that nail right on the head in terms of, social and what I call, the isolation of, social media. In fact, I have individuals in my personal family who don't have conversations. They would rather just send a text. And they're sitting in the same room.
All right
Where
next to
have
each
we
Wow.
other.
gone to
Wow.
where we no longer communicate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll text each other and we're in the same room. I have some family, they will call each other in the household. The houses are so big right now. I know all of you guys don't have these problems, but some people, the houses are so big that they actually reach out to each other via
Via
phone
cell
call.
phone.
And Gary, I knew where you wanted this thing to go. So I'm going to go there. I'll be the lone wolf and go out there. Where have we gone and why are we here? I think two major reasons. Uh, Eric, you brought it up, the political, what we call mainstay, if you will. That's number one, the reason why we're so divided and we don't communicate with each other in a way in terms of a community and also within families. There's a lot of divided families as a result of, political connections. And then we had COVID around the same period of time. So I think COVID, along with the political, what I call mainstay, has really divided us as a community. It has divided us as people. I think it has truly divided this country because we didn't want to be around each other. We couldn't be around each other. We couldn't touch. We couldn't feel. So I believe we've lost that connection. In fact, I know some people to this day, those COVID years, that 2.5, 3 years of COVID years, we lost a significant amount of connecting with people.
Okay.
Yes.
And I think that we're still feeling the results of that because we still don't feel comfortable being in too many crowded rooms because if somebody coughs, everybody's jumping. It's and with this current administration, nobody's getting a booster or a vaccine, so you don't know what they may be passing along. But our young people are so into this social media platform that they have no socialization as it relates to personal interactions and having those personal conversations.
Can't
And so
spell,
even
can't
if
write.
if you're trying to talk to them, there is no conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And what they're looking at is not intellectually sound. So there's no depth to their thinking in most cases. They're not searching the internet to be totally informed. They're searching the internet to be entertained. And so it's very difficult. And their addiction is also a driver in their bad behavior because the things that they're addicted to through social media tend to be negative kinds of things and the negative thought processing and being ill informed. And because they're not really searching for depth, they're not bouncing it off anybody. Whatever gets posted on Facebook is the gospel. And that is a really to be informed by. So, it's just and unfortunately many adults are doing the same thing.
And
And,
Dr. Bethune, may I add to something that you just said there about the addiction of the younger generation?
Mhm.
I believe this year there are two other countries One was Australia that issued a ban for 16 and under. You're prohibited from using social media. France did the same thing for 15 and under. They recognize the dangers of social media.
Mhm.
And one of the things that we find as we do more and more research, these social media giants like Meta, they have algorithms that are
Absolutely.
designed to make you addicted to it.
For the addiction.
So it behooves us to make certain if you have children or grandchildren that you try to minimize that so they are not prone to those addictions because this is real. But in America, we worship at the altar of the Almighty Prophet,
Mhm.
right? And when you worship at the altar of the Almighty Prophet, the fact that it's destroying the lives of your young folks,
Doesn't
it
matter.
matters not.
Right. You know, in Georgia, they banned the kids can't bring their cell phones into the classroom anymore. And that has been interesting to watch because they're in meltdown phase
Mhm.
to be, and their parents support that meltdown by saying, well, how does my child get in touch with me? Well, the old fashioned way, they go to the
Yeah.
office.
Yeah.
Right,
You know,
right.
You
Gary,
know,
another thing with social media that a lot of kids don't realize, and a lot of parents don't realize, and I wish it would become more prevalent. A lot of times, the stuff that you put on social media, once you put it on there,
it's
you
there
can't take it
forever.
back.
It's
I've
there
even seen
forever.
people put stuff on and then try to put a follow up, but the first thing you send out is on there. I'm gonna give you an interesting thing. I have a friend of mine whose wife is a college recruiter. And we were having a conversation. We were at a dinner one time and we were talking about social media. And she said, kids don't realize when you apply to a school and you can have a 4.8, 4.9, they don't care. They go to
Your social
Facebook,
media post.
they go to TikTok, they go to Snapchat. They look at the things that you post, they look at the things that you've said. And a lot of times, just things that you post can keep you from getting into a good school because you
Absolutely.
put stuff, you know, you have these kids where they have these fights with other kids on social media and they're degrading one person. That type of thing can stop you. Also, a lot of people don't realize when you're going for, especially in this area of the DMV, a lot of times when you're going for these government jobs, these
Yeah.
HR people, they go to social media.
But not just
And when they
government
go to
jobs.
social
Corporate, yeah,
media
corporate America as
Corporate
well.
and
America
they
has
see,
been up in
Mhm.
that for a long
and they
time.
see
Oh,
all
yeah.
of this derogatory stuff that you have been publishing because you got in an argument with a family member or you got in an argument with a colleague. A lot of times that kind of stuff can keep you from getting a clearance because they figure if you got a loose mouth on social media, what kind of mouth you gonna have when we try to give you a secret clearance or SCI clearance or
Mhm.
something of that
Well,
nature?
that
So
that one's dead because none of that matters anymore.
social media has been detrimental to young people and also older people.
Mhm.
Yes,
Let me let
that's
me
very
get
true.
let me get CJ in before we step to the next topic. You got anything to say, CJ?
Yeah, I think Carlos hit the nail on the head the hardest. It is a technology issue. Like even growing up in my generation, even back when we had the house in Maryland and Mary Catherine, like I knew what knew the neighbors. Like I said, we're on the bus. I knew the other kids. We used to play basketball and stuff like that. And now if I talk to the kids today, they say, "Well, I can play with my friends on NBA 2K. Why do I need to go to the basketball court and meet people in real life?" And again, you're like losing the social skills that you need to actually
Ah,
meet people and work together as a team, get physical exercise and fresh air, all those things that people
Absolutely.
don't consider. So,
Mhm.
but it is by design. You have to look at who owns the social media platforms, the tech
Absolutely.
oligarchs, the Elon Musk, and a divided and stupid electorate is much easier to control. So the algorithms, it's no accident that they're keeping people divided. They're giving
Mhm.
people, things in their algorithm to, like Mr. Garvin was saying, like to sow division between people and things like that. But at the same time, again, it's all by design. Like I said, this is what they want. They want people dumb. We have the dumbest country I can remember, with AI feeding people wrong results. Like I said, people don't want to do research, things like that. So it is a lot of technology, but it is also a social thing where we just have this individualistic society, and that is on max now with Donald Trump as president, where it's a me society, and people aren't really interested in community as much anymore. It's everyone's out for themselves. And if you can make it out for yourselves in this version of America, that's what it's about. Is so people are forsaking community, by choice, or just being sucked into, as you said, the algorithms and the reach that seems like real life, but you're not getting an accurate picture of reality. And again, making people dumb and easy to sow misinformation. And this is where we're at.
Okay.
It's a learned behavior. They're being taught from very early on how to behave in that individualistic way because of what they're plugged into.
Well,
And, brainwashing is real.
Dr. Bethune, since you used the word taught, that's a trigger word for our next segment, because we're gonna teach each other a little something here. So the men are gonna share one unwritten rule for men. And you ladies can get your pens out and scribe or whatever, whatever you need to
notes.
Do. And then we're going to give you all an opportunity to give us an unwritten rule that we need to know. So, Mr. Spivey, our senior researcher here, what is one unwritten rule for men that you live by? Just one. I know there's probably several, but just one unwritten rule for men that you live by.
Well, you gave us some choices, and so I went with number one. Don't sit next to another man in an empty movie.
Okay.
You gave us several of them, but that was number one. And the other one, you said don't use a urinal beside another man if other ones are available, because you're sending a signal.
Okay. Well, you started us off there, Mr. Spivey. Okay. We're going to go with all the men first. So, Stan, what's your one unwritten rule?
Well, before I get into my unwritten rule, I got to add to Dr. Spivey. Even though you may be next to another man, you keep your head forward. Do not look around. Okay, that's rule number one.
They call it tunnel vision.
Absolutely. Gary, my rule was one that I grew up on, and though it's a relationship rule, it does not come from the sphere of financial planning. It is rule number one for us. If you know that brother, you do not mess with his significant other.
Sure.
Okay. All right. Okay. Eric Garvin.
So I'm going to ask them, what happens if that significant other messes with you?
So I was about to say, how well do I know this dude?
Don't go there, bro.
All right. Hey, but on a serious note, one of my unwritten rules is just being accountable for my mistakes, and just also trying to be a man of my word. And I really think it's important, right? Because in this day and age, you hear so much about people that never apologize. And I really think that is a flaw, a character flaw, when you can't apologize. When you make a mistake, I think it's important for you to quickly acknowledge your mistakes and apologize for those mistakes. And I think that really boosts you as an individual, as opposed to detracting from you.
Okay. CJ, one unwritten rule.
I feel like all the major ones were covered. I think Mr. Spivey hit the most important one, which is the urinal rule. Like, I need my courtesy space. Like, it is super weird if there's like 8 open urinals and you right next to me. And also, like Stan said, eyes forward. Like, I don't need you like looking around, and I don't want to have a conversation. People want to talk. Like, I don't know you, man. This is 30 seconds of my life, bro. I don't want to have a conversation. So I need that. And same thing on public transportation. If I'm on the subway or the metro, I need that courtesy space, dog. Like, it's already packed in here. If we have room, I need you to sit over there. Don't be sitting right next to me, man. I got stuff like going on, man. So that's definitely like the number one. Like I definitely agree with Stan's. You don't mess with somebody else's girl, but I will say, how well do I know this person? Because do I like this person? Because just because I know somebody is one thing, you know what I'm saying? But are we friends? You never do that to your friend group, but just because I know somebody and they girl, was coming, I'm just saying, like, are we, just because I know them don't mean we friends. So I'm just saying.
Okay. Because Bernie Mac say I know him, but I really don't know him.
Okay.
Carlos? Because see, we're enlightening our lady friends over here. So go ahead, Carlos.
All right. Well, look, I'm with everybody else on the urinal thing. That was going to be my number one. But there's something that's very, very important to a man. And this happens a lot between Memorial Day and Labor Day. If a man is cooking on the grill, listen to me. If he's cooking on the grill and he's doing his thing on the grill,
leave him
don't
alone.
you walk up and mess with this food on the grill.
Leave him alone.
I done seen a man turn his back and somebody walk up and try to put some barbecue. No, that man's grill is sacred.
Walk away.
If you are cooking on the grill, let that man do his thing. You do not interfere. That is a serious violation of cookout rules. All right, that's it.
I've seen it destroy marriages.
That's right. Don't mess with the man on the grill.
It's serious business.
Well, you know what? Speaking of marriages, I'll just say, if your wife says something like, "Go ahead, just do whatever you want," under no circumstances should you do that.
Right. Gary,
figure out a way. Don't do it.
Tell me the truth. I won't get mad.
Right.
Lie to me.
That's automatic. I'm gonna lie.
That's too funny.
So ladies, I got my pen, I got my pad here. So go ahead, Donna, give us your one unwritten rule.
Well, I'm going to get personal in the bathroom. All right. So I never use the first piece of toilet paper because somebody else had their hands on it.
That's true.
Or today.
I always tear it off.
We are so much alike.
Right?
Yep.
Did you do that, Evelyn?
Yeah.
I tear it off.
Yep.
And even though other people have touched the toilet paper, right? But that somebody really touched it like minutes ago. So you tear that off, you put it in the toilet, and then you decide to wipe your private parts with it. But yeah, you don't use that first piece of toilet paper because
just don't know.
Okay, Dr. Bethune, we rolling to you. What you got?
Oh Lord, so many choices and so little time. Well, the game changer for me is to be at an event and the person that I'm with is not attentive to what I'm doing. They're paying more attention.
Say more about that, just to make sure we're clear.
If we're sitting at with people sitting at the, can you hear me?
Well, we lost your camera.
My camera is going in and out. I don't know. It's something with my Zoom. It just keeps switching off.
All right, we got you. We got you now.
I'm not dissing y'all, I promise.
Okay.
But if we're sitting at a table, we're having a conversation, and you're more interested in talking to the other females at the table than to me, that's a problem.
Okay.
That means that you don't get invited out anymore.
Okay.
We have just drawn a line through your name.
Okay. All right. Tracy.
So I'm going to say, do not invite me somewhere and we got to wait till the bill come to explain how we paying this.
Lord, today, come on now. Speak the gospel.
Invite me somewhere and who paying? What we doing? Because I'm going to cover mine.
So
right?
is there
is
there a certain expectation that you think is going to go on? Does it depend on how many dates, how well you know? Let's get into this.
No. So back in my dating days, as Ms. Donna mentioned, I recently got married a month ago. But prior to that, if we're going out, you've asked me out.
You pay.
Right?
Right.
I expect you to pay.
That's right.
Reasonable.
Unless we've had a conversation beforehand and you say, hey, let's go out. We're gonna go Dutch or whatever the case may be.
Right.
But if it's not mentioned beforehand, my expectation is that you're paying as a man.
Fellas, I got no problem with that. What do you say, fellas? I got no problem with that.
That is correct. If you ask a woman out, you pay. The man should pay if you ask her out. I mean, that's the bottom line.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if I ask you out, I'm gonna pay.
Yeah, that but works both ways.
It works both ways.
I remember we had this conversation one time before. CJ had another opinion on that. I wanted to hear it.
CJ, he's trying to throw you in the fire.
He's throwing you under the bus, CJ.
I mean, like I say, I pretty much agree. Like I said, if I add to you, whoever asks, like I said, is usually on the hook. If you made the plans, if I was like proposed, like, hey, let's go to X place, and if it's my idea, then yeah, I'm gonna pay. I wouldn't expect someone else to pay for the idea that I proposed. But at the same time, like, I mean, I've seen situations where both people don't have a good time. So it's like, I mean, there's things that can certainly go wrong, but you just got to take that L. I mean, if it goes wrong, I mean, you just got to eat that.
So CJ, in CJ's defense, right? It wasn't CJ. It was Talk to Trey.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
If I recall, his opinion said, hey,
it was
if
CJ's
I'm paying
running
for the meal, I'm expecting something in return, right?
Oh, yeah.
So if this was not the gentleman's motto that most of these guys on here tonight, hey, we also take a woman out, we're going to pay for the meal. No questions about that. But some of the newer generation, they have a totally different mindset. No, they expect something in return.
Well, I got a buddy of mine. I got a buddy of mine. He's out there. I think he's a little too old to be out there, but he's out there. And he got twisted, and I think he's not the only one. At the end of the date, he was going with somebody who was about 35 years younger. And at the end of the date, she ordered some takeout for her kids, and that set him off a little bit.
Hey, that's what he get. That's what he gets for dating a young lady 35 years younger. Well, you expect she's probably gonna have kids.
Yeah,
I wasn't home to cook, so
yeah. So she's like,
you feed me, you feed my family.
Yeah,
you gotta pay to play.
He was like, "What are you doing?" She's like, and she just basically said, "She said, you know, I got to bring something home to my kids." He's like, "You expect me to pay?" And she's like, "Well, yeah." So anyway, I ain't gonna get there, but I know he ain't the only one. So
I want to go to where Evelyn was. I think that we, the women on this panel, and certain other women that I know, are very social women, right? And our businesses require us to be social, to go out, to beg for money. Sometimes we have a nonprofit. And so you're in an arena. What I don't want is a man who stands under the thermostat.
Come on.
The whole time we're at an event. Like, really?
Yes.
You cannot be social in any kind of situation because you don't know the people. I really, that doesn't happen to me often because I don't pick that kind of men, but I've seen it where they're standing around under the thermostat ready to go. And you should have stayed home. You should have stayed home. Right?
Like a hostage. She's standing like a hostage.
Yes. Yeah.
Hold on. I will defend the guys on this one. All right. I'm going to go. Look.
Easy, Carlos. Go ahead.
I'm gonna go easy on this one, right? Carlos. And the reason I think I can relate to this one, right? With the nonprofit I have, I speak to alumni from the 1950s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, and now even 2020s. Okay, so I got a lot of different perspectives on this, but all I'm saying on this one is think about the person you want to date or take on a date. Not everybody's the same. There are some. Was it extroverts and there's some introverts? I mean, you gotta this is who you're choosing. So be careful who you choose, because sometimes you may just be better going by yourself, because some people will stay underneath the thermostat all night. It don't make a difference who's out there. And then you got some people where it's 5 people in the room, and they'll leave you all night and speak to all 5 people in the room. I think we spoke about that at the dinner table, right? Somebody speaking to everybody else except the person they came with.
Yes.
I think it has nothing to do with you individually as a lady. I think it's just the person you choose to go with, because this isn't something that just happened in one night. This is a pattern they probably had for decades, and it's going to be hard to break it in one or 2 nights. You may have to go to several events, and by the seventh event, maybe they'll start to say, maybe this is a good thing if I leave the thermostat. But it's just not going to happen on the first or second date. So that would just be my take. I think it's not the ladies, but just be careful who you choose, because that's going to be just who they naturally are.
Yeah.
You know,
And
Carlos,
sometimes they're
add to
great
that.
one-on-one.
I would
They're
agree.
just
Carlos,
not great in
Yes,
crowd.
it sounds like if you with Donna, you ain't getting to 7 dates. If you go and you get a thermostat on one day.
That's true.
You know,
I
but
hear that.
listen to this discussion.
Nope.
You know, when you're young, your parents say things and you just say, yeah. But my mother used to always say, times will change, but some traditions will never change.
Right.
And if you ask the woman out, you should expect to pay.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Those
And going
times,
back to what Tracy
I
said,
don't care what changes, that should never change.
that was
That's
true.
because you're a gentleman.
And going
Mr.
back to,
Spivey.
and Tracy, you mentioned it earlier about the conversation. Don't wait to the end to have that conversation.
Yes.
You know, just like that standing under the thermostat. Let's be clear. Have that conversation.
You got to, like you do your kids, you know, before you go in the store, don't da. Like, hey, we about to go to this event and I need to raise this money. So
and not even have to raise this money. You know, sometimes, right? Because sometimes people just cannot stand the fact that other folk pay more attention to you than they do them.
That's true.
And we happen to be women who know people. We are sociable, and people like us. And when you go out with me, you got to be able to hang with a rock star.
Right, that part.
And it's just that simple. I don't live my life for nobody. And if you can't hang, you're not the one for me. You got to be able to have a pair of boots on and be able to walk through the marsh if you have to. If you can't do it, get on down the road and don't waste my time and yours either.
You know, when people watch this show and they see how dignified we were the first 15, 20 minutes, and now you get to this part, oh, you got to hang with me.
And if you can't hang, you got to go.
See, you got to go. Yeah.
Right.
Hey, look, let's close out on this note. At what age are you too old to, do certain things here? At what age? So now I'm going to go back to my boy who, was dating someone 35 years younger. I'm not going to go there, but he can't be going to the club trying to do the stanky leg. He's going to be pulling something, So it's and the skinny jeans and all that stuff. So I'm just going to say, Eric Garvin, is there an age or age limit where you're just too old to do certain things? And if so, let's enlighten our guests here. What say you?
So I say living with your parents. Now, I'm going to say this, right? The phenomenon has been for 18 to 29-year-olds, 49% of them today live with their parents, right? Now, that's a staggering statistic. But if you rewind 10 years, it was about 35%. So it's going up, and that's largely attributable to what the economy is doing these days. But I think that is one key area. I have a cousin of mine who's 69 years old. He lives with my mother in New York City and ain't planning on leaving anytime soon. Right. So yeah, that would be one thing I'd say, Gary.
Woo. Okay. Tracy, come on.
I'm going to say around 50 explaining myself to people who aren't affected by my decisions. Like, I don't owe anyone an explanation unless whatever decision I made is going to affect them in some kind of way.
Okay.
It is
All
what
right.
it is.
Okay. Stan.
Go the reverse. I'm going to say that it's never too old to start over.
Absolutely.
That's good.
Okay. Yeah, that's a great one.
That's
All
good.
right. CJ.
I would say if your rap career hasn't taken off by the time you're 50 years old, you need to learn to play some jazz.
Say that
Wrap
again,
it up,
CJ.
wrap up your rap career, bro.
Say that again. Just make sure.
If your rap career has not taken off by the time you are 50 years old, you need to learn to play some jazz.
Say it.
Okay, Dr. Bethune.
Skinny jeans. Oh man, Lord Jesus. Oh man.
Is there an age limit or a weight limit?
Especially if you're over 40 and you're not fit.
Okay.
Okay. It just doesn't work for me. I love a man in a nice tailored suit, some great slacks, and that fall just right over his shoes, and his shoes are, just sexy, and those skinny jeans just don't do it.
I used to work with a woman who used to always tell me, she said, and she'd see some of the other people coming in the office sometime, and she would turn to me. She used to work for me. She used to say, you know what, Gary? Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
You should. Absolutely. Absolutely. There is nothing sexier than watching a man walk past you that has on great shoes, great fitting slacks, a starched tailored shirt, and smells good. See, that's Stan Harrison. When Stan Harrison walks past you.
Oh, go ahead, Stan.
He leaves a lasting impression. My sister talks about his cologne right now to this day. She said he always smells good.
What's my patented response? I took a bath this morning.
Oh my goodness. Oh, Donna, what say you?
Oh, I think that a woman should know when she can wear a 3-inch heel.
Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I like to save my back for other things.
Say that. Amen, my sister.
Amen.
Amen.
Okay, we got who we got left? Carlos and Mr. Spivey. Carlos and Mr. Spivey.
All right. Well, I'm gonna lead right into Mr. Spivey. I'm gonna tell you this: you are too old to make excuses once you turn 40.
Come on.
You can't be saying I'm in my mama's basement. You can't be saying I can't do this, I can't do this. You probably got kids at this point you're trying to advise. You get a pass. You probably shouldn't get a pass past 25 or 30, but once you get to 40, you're too old to have excuses. You're too old to be at the club on Tuesday night. You're too old to be doing a lot of foolish stuff. You need to be thinking about the highlight of your working career and retirement and beyond. Once you have that 40th birthday, those teenage and 20s and 30s are behind you. You got to start thinking forward. And you know what? After I turned 40, best years of my life. So if you think in the best years of your life or as a teenager or 20s or 30s, I think my father told me a man doesn't start living until he's 25. I disagree. I think a man doesn't start living until he's 40.
It's greater later.
Yep. There you go.
Okay. Mr. Spivey.
Well, I'm gonna go with Evelyn. Skinny jeans. My philosophy is simply this: just because they make it in your size doesn't mean that you have to buy it.
You can't arch your foot.
You see some of these people in skinny jeans, and usually when you see them in them, they're 1 or 2 sizes too small. So my thing is, just because they make it in your size don't mean you got to buy it.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, I'm a rapid fire. We're gonna close out in rapid fire, and I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna start with Colonel Eric Garvin. Is there one old school rule that just needs to stay dead? An old school rule.
It needs to stay dead.
Yep. Or there's one that you want to that needs to stay. You want to make sure it stays here. An old what you would anything you consider an old school rule that just needs to either get out or stay.
Well, since we talked a lot about social isolation, I'm going to say this is one that needs to stay that we should do in the old school. Get out and talk to somebody, or get out and play as opposed to playing with your smartphone and be
Okay.
socially engaged.
All right. Stan.
Say two things. Number one, family dinners. We need to get back into communicating during family dinners. We have a rule in our household: no, no cell phones while we're having dinner. And secondly, we have to learn how to dress better for occasions.
My Lord.
Right.
Okay. Carlos.
Wow, you said an old school rule that we should leave alone?
Or maintain. Make sure we maintain.
You know, I definitely like maintaining the family dinners and the dress code that Stan just mentioned. I think those would be mine. But you know what? I'm gonna go a different route on what we should leave behind. I believe that we are intelligent enough as people. We have enough, you know, pros and cons to raise our kids without going out to the tree in the backyard and grabbing the switch off the tree. I think I was in my younger days in the 1970s when I was at elementary school. I think I actually did that for my grandmother or great grandmother and got the switch, and I felt that switch. I don't recommend the switch to anybody, so I think we can leave that one behind. But I know for many years in many states and many areas, I think even a famous football player got in trouble for telling his kid to go get the switch off the tree, and so he could beat the kids with the switch. No, I think we should leave that one behind and start thinking a lot smarter about how we reprimand our kids, because we brought up the topics of, you know, kids doing what they want in school, kids running the household. No, you know what? You can take away a kid's smartphone or his video games, and that's probably what hurt him more than the Switch ever did in 2026. So I think we just need to be smarter. So leave the Switch on the tree and maybe turn off the electronics if we need some order in the house.
Okay. Tracy.
I think dressing up for certain occasions needs to come back. We've gotten it to be so lax in that area because, you know, some of us are working from home, or, you know, our jobs don't require dress up anymore. It's a business casual, but especially here in Florida, when you have events, a lot of people just don't take the time to dress appropriately. They dress too casual. So I'd like to see that come back.
Okay. Dr. Bethune?
Oh, so many. All of those ideas are great. I do believe that there should be more family dinners and be intentional about those things, like putting everybody's cell phone in the bowl, leave it at the door.
Yeah.
And have earnest, you know, wonderful conversations. And my other, of course, would be never leave the music behind. Always bring the music with you. Always.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great one.
Yes.
Okay. All right. CJ.
I think those have all been great suggestions. Even as someone who plays music, like I wear a suit on stage, you know, like I said, for certain occasions and for big shows, you know, I tell younger bands this all the time too. Like I said, the impressions, you know, you could go on there with your cargo shorts and your t-shirt and you could be awesome, but that's not a show. You know what I'm saying? People are paying money to see you. You need to put in the effort to give them an experience. And I think, you know, so the dressing for occasions is something that I definitely agree with. One thing I also miss is when people didn't text everything, like call me, just call me, dog. Like, because I'm using my hands, I'm playing guitar, I'm in the studio. For me to stop and to text and to stop and to text for a conversation that could have took 3 minutes, and it removes all the miscommunication you can have because texts have no context. So you could be mixing up stuff. You could be thinking somebody's mad at you.
Yes,
you do all that could be cleared up most of the time at like a 3-minute phone call instead of me going back and forth and texting somebody 40 times in the day.
Absolutely.
Okay. Mr. Spivey.
Well, the one that I want to talk about is dressing for certain occasions. My wife and I had a discussion. This was sometime last year. And I asked her a question. I said, tell me something where people have to dress up for today. And she tried to think of something. She said, funerals, they don't dress up. Weddings, they don't dress up. Even formal events, people don't dress up anymore. And so I believe that the first impression is a lasting impression. And that's why I'm take my hat off and I applaud the president of Tuskegee University.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That you can't wear bonnets, you can't wear pajamas, and you can't wear bedroom shoes to class. You know, and you hear people say, why can't I wear bedroom shoes? It's simply because what's the name of the damn shoe? Bedroom shoes. So why are you going to wear them to class? And so I think that, you know, people need to get back to dressing for certain occasions. You know, some of these people will go to a job interview and have on jeans and a t-shirt. If you walk in, and if I'm a person doing some hiring and you come into a job interview for me, and I really don't care what it is, you come in with jeans and t-shirt on, I'm going to tell you, we have nothing to discuss. Because if you come to me that way, that's the way you're going to present yourself to the people around me. Absolutely. So I really think that we need to get back to dressing. And, you know, some people will say, I don't want to impress anyone. Well, if you don't want, you may not want to impress anyone, impress yourself. Absolutely. And have some kind of self-esteem.
That's the bottom line.
So that's my dressing.
Donna, you got the last word, Donna.
I want to get rid of baby hair.
Please.
I'm so sick.
Baby hair.
Baby.
Hey, Donna, let me tell you something I heard.
Sick.
Let me tell you something I heard a guy say, a comedian. Don't put no baby hair on your face if you can't have a baby.
Right. We need to leave that behind, like Carla said. I really think this generation is, I don't understand.
They have taken baby hair to a whole new level.
You ain't lying.
Gary Johnson, I would like to see baby hair go away.
Yeah.
All right. You heard it here. I don't even know how to sum up this show. It started one way, but it ended. We thought we were gonna have a battle of the sexes, but we really came together. We really came together on a lot of things. And so on behalf of the Thought Brothers, our guests, Donna and Tracy and Dr. Bethune, this was a good show. We all came together and we proved people can be different, have different views and still get along. And we have more in common than we do differences. I'm Gary Johnson for the Thought Brothers. And until next week, we are out of here. Thank you very much.
Good night, folks. Good night.
Good night.
Folks.
I feel the ground move under my feet. People look around like, what could it be? They point to the towers, they point to the rise, but this shaking in the dirt is a warning in disguise. Not just the walls, not just the stone, it's the way the wicked hangs on a world not their own. He sees the land, he sees the line, he sees the crossing every single time. And when enough is enough, when the mercy grows thin, the shaking starts speaking. Shake it up, 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 get it right. Shake it up tonight. He's not pleased, he's calling us here. That tremble in the ground means his return is near. Families weeping under the dust. Homes built on pride and kingdoms built on lust. Children of promise, land in his hand. You can't keep pressing what you don't understand.